boys and girls. Hey, keep it where it is. I think you're going to like this show. Okay. By the way, last night I came up with a little poem to read to you. I hope you like it. The name of the show is There Is a Place. And let's get started with the poem here. The boys and girls want economic democracy now. The girls and boys want it right away. Children are working to have it every single day. There is a place where kids will change the world right now. Hey, boys and girls, let's start a revolution, end the market economy, and replace it with an economic democratic society. Okay, let's begin with this show. The name of this show, boys and girls, is A Development of Economic Democracy. I'm going to explain to you in more detail what economic democracy is. In our 4 previous shows, I did tell you what it is, but we're going to go in a little more detail. Matter of fact, I'm going to read you a report a little later on in the show detailing what it exactly is. Okay, so I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you enjoy what economic democracy is, and also how we're going to plan to set this up, how we're going to set up a new society peacefully, you know, ending the market economy and moving to an economic democracy, and also help to explain it what it is and how we're going to go about doing this. I'm your host, the Storyteller. Okay, and let's get started. You know, first let's start with the 4-letter word of the day. The 4-letter word of the day, boys and girls, is plan. Plan means a diagram, a design, a scheme, a project. Okay, and what we're going to do, boys and girls, we're going to come up with a plan or a diagram or a scheme to develop economic democracy. You know, so what we're going to be doing today, boys and girls, first of all, when I read you the report, here's what we're going to discuss in the report. We're going to look at unemployment, underemployment, poverty, unsafe products, destruction of the environment, and other social problems have always been a major result of the market economy for at least 200 years when it got its start in England. Yeah, England is the first colony. Okay, so that's one of the things we're going to talk about. Economic democracy is the collective ownership or control by workers of the factories, mills, mines, railroads, land, and all other apparatuses of producing. I'll get into more detail about that. Economic democracy means producing to satisfy human needs, not as under the market economy for selling and profit. Economic democracy means true command and administration of the industries and social services by the workers through a democratic government based on their economic organization and not controlled and managed by a fraction of a percentage of the population as in the market economy. Okay. Also, we're going to develop economic democracy, what we're going to talk about is the workers need to prepare on both the political and economic fields. To develop economic democracy, political agreement under the emblem of a mass political party of labor is needed. We'll be discussing that. And also to develop economic democracy, workers also have to join as a class by organizing new unions. Okay, boys and girls. So, I'm going to go right into the paper now. So, first of all, this is the report. We're going to, all these things that I just said to you, this is what the paper is going to cover. I'm going to give you a whole thing, a whole discussion of what the market economy is about, and then also going into economic democracy. There have been many consequences as a result of the global expansion of the market economy over the last 30 years. Positive consequences include, we're going to talk about first the positive, include tremendous developments in communication, transportation, and technology that produce great amounts of goods and services. However, and these are the positive, boys and girls, of the market economy. They have done all these things, produced a lot of goods and services. But there have been negative consequences because of the expansion of the market economy, and these are some of the negative consequences. The majority of the world's toxic wastes produced by highly technological developed countries are dumped in third world countries in an unsafe, hazardous manner. Yeah. I have this all documented, and you'll get the references at the end of the show, boys and girls. Since 1970, the world's forests have declined 4 square miles per 1,000 people to 2.8 square miles per 1,000 people, and it's even less than that. But the last time that I looked this up, you have less forests in the world today, boys and girls. That means less oxygen is being produced for the ozone layer. A quarter of the world's fish stock has been depleted or in danger of being depleted, and another 44% are being fished at their biological limit. Okay. 36, this may surprise you, boys and girls. You know, you're looking at why are so many countries poor? Well, 36 of the 40 poorest countries export food to North America. Instead of feeding themselves, they're exporting food here, where a lot of it just gets thrown away. Yeah, you may say, why is that? Well, it's more profitable to send food here, where most of it may get thrown away, instead of keeping it there and feeding their own people. This is politics, boys and girls. This is what the market economy is about, is to make a profit. If it means that people have to starve, if it's more profitable to sell food to people where most of it's going to get thrown away instead of feeding their own population, well, if it's more profitable to do that, that's what they do. Think about that. 36 of the 40 poorest countries of the world exports food to North America. That's the main reason why there's starvation in the world. In Africa, half the population suffers from protein deficiencies, and yet they export protein foods to Europe. The average African household today consumes 20% less than it did 25 years ago. The world's 225 richest individuals, of whom 60 are Americans, with total assets of $311 billion, have a combined wealth of over $1 trillion, equal to the annual income of the poorest 47% of the entire world's population. In other words, about 225 people, boys and girls, the money that they have is equal to what half of the world's population in 1 year. Something wrong with this picture. There's no way of justifying that such a small group of individuals have that type of wealth. Equal to what half the people of the world, that's 3 billion people, make in 1 year. More and more work is exported to third world countries because the work is often hazardous. These countries are low wage havens for big businesses, and they guarantee no interference from health and air, water, and land throughout the world are being poisoned due to exported work by big businesses. Unemployment and poverty under a market economy continue to exist throughout the world, bringing hardship to and threatening the lives of hundreds of millions to possibly a few billion people. Unemployment, underemployment, poverty, unsafe work conditions, unsafe products, destruction of the environment, and other social problems have always been a major result of the market economy for at least 200 years when it got its start in England. These are certain problems that were developed under the market economy, and 200 years later they still have those problems. They have not been able, safe work conditions, unsafe products, destruction of the environment, unemployment and underemployment. Okay, what I'm talking about today, boys and girls, this is the beginnings of a blueprint for a development of economic democracy as discussed by Daniel De Leon. He's the first one who really discussed this. Maybe it's about 100 years ago, actually, now. An economic democratic system may very well reverse the above social problems associated with the market economy. Economic democracy is the collective ownership or control by the workers of the factories, mills, mines, railroads, land, and all other apparatuses of producing. Economic democracy means producing to satisfy human needs, not as under the market economy for selling and profit. Economic democracy means true command and administration of the industries and social services by the workers through a democratic government based on their economic organization and not controlled and managed by a fraction of a percentage of the population as in the market economy. In other words, boys and girls, okay, if you're a factory worker, say 25% of the population are factory workers, well, then 25% of the Congress, they represent factory workers. And through those people in the Congress, they decide what needs to be done in the factory, how to make safe products, safe work conditions, not to produce pollution, because they know what to do as far as what's being done in a factory.